Hi, welcome to Infinite Sky. So my name is Danguela and today I'm going to share with you some very important information about how was this earth created and what happened during the event which is called fall from grace or fall from heaven. So I'm really excited to share this information. I think it's very interesting. Um, so if I occasionally look to my papers, it means like I have to remember what I already channeled from my spirit guides. So my spirit guides confirmed that this event, Fall from Grace, actually happened. It was a real event. It's not a fiction. So what happened? Some mature souls, not very mature, but they decided that they no longer want to live in the absolute reality. And absolute reality is like the thing that only exists actually. Absolute reality is the reality where souls lived happily in harmony with each other. They were always connected with each other. They couldn't hide their emotions. They always shared their ideas, their thoughts, their feelings. There was no lies, no manipulation. It could not exist in that reality because it was based on love, on appreciation, on respect, on every harmonious thing that you could possibly think. It was based on that. So souls, many years, they lived on that absolute reality and they were always connected. There was no separation. And some souls decided that they don't no longer want to live in that reality because they mistrusted this reality, and they thought they could create another reality which will have their own rules and their own their own rules and their own reality actually, and it will be like, as you can call it, VIP, separated dimension from other beings. So when they decided to separate themselves from this absolute reality, which was based in harmony and love, other more mature souls, they said, you cannot actually create something which is not based on laws of universe, because the laws of universe is actually some limiting forces, limiting laws that you cannot change. For example, energy expands and then contracts, and you could not change that law because it's absolute law. Like, it penetrates all the dimensions and all the realities. So you cannot actually create something which is very different from that absolute reality. And if you do create that, it means like this is the distortion of the current reality. So they agreed, those souls who wanted to separate themselves, they agreed that this will be some distortion, but it will have connection with that absolute reality. So that distorted reality will always remain the connection with that absolute reality. There was a gradual regression. The material world wasn't created in the minute, in the instant. It was very gradual regression. So first, what was started? So the ego was formed, and when the ego was formed, the actual separation was formed. It means like souls will no longer start to not remember that they are infinite beings, but they started to believe that they are some limiting creatures and limiting being who has their own wall around them and who is individual but not connected with other souls or other environment, so they can make their own decisions. So they were very bold souls, but they used their courage in, I would say, quite evil way. So when actual separation occurred, there was a formation of new home, and those souls who wanted to separate themselves, they visualized their new home, how they will look like, what their environment will look like, and actually they have to conform to some rules. For example, they had to create a human being that has a symmetry, that, for example, has one hand and the other hand which is almost the same as the other hand, and also like everything is symmetrical, and there has to be white and black, and there's a duality, and the opposite forces are coming together in creation of that human body and human experience and environment that you see. It also has some laws and some rules how they were created. So and they decided that this new reality was made for souls to learn, but the learning could only occur through the contrast. It means, like, in order to feel, to know what is love, you have to know what is hate or anger, and so on. So, and the contrast was created in order for those souls to regulate their chakra systems and to not to regress too far, but to somehow remain in that altered state of being, which is the more lower vibrational state. So also they decided there will be only one life, not only one life, but there will be a limited duration of life, which we call lifetime, to experience this 3D reality. Why we cannot have eternal life on earth, and why we have to die, and why do we have to shed our bodies? Because if we lived for like very long time, we will accumulate the karma. We would make very bad decisions according to our state of mind, and we will accumulate a lot of karma. So about that karma, the material world actually was created and materialized when the cycle of reincarnation was formed. The cycle of reincarnation is the gift from heaven. Those souls who didn't want the cycle of reincarnation, they thought that they could be like eternal souls who will live in 3D reality for non-stop, and they will do whatever they want, they will create whatever they want. They also do many bad decisions. They didn't know that they will make bad decisions according to their will, but like they wanted to be like almost eternal. But spirit guides informed them and discouraged them from that eternal state, because they knew that they will mess up. They knew exactly that this ego and this separation from the divine will cause them to make many mistakes and make bad decisions. So they encouraged to have limited amount of duration, like limited duration of life, to not accumulate more karma. And they also implemented this cycle of reincarnation so that souls could actually develop, and they actually could come back home. And home is what? It's absolute reality, love, harmony, positivity, everything. So they created the cycle of reincarnation to push back those souls to home and to actually change their vibrational state, increase their vibrations by learning and by accumulating more knowledge, more wisdom, and just learning from their mistakes. So it was a gift from God. It was not a curse. Cycle of reincarnation is not a curse. Why? Because you can be stuck in some very low dimensional states, and actually emotional and physical states in your body, and you could not get out. Basically, you're in the limbo state, and cycle of reincarnation pushes you to the higher state of being eventually. If you're very stubborn, you could take many years to actually raise your vibrations. But if you want to learn from this earth, from this experience, actually you could manifest your higher vibrational frequency, your happiness, your positivity very quickly and in the short duration of time. So what happened? So actually the earth was not the only material world that was formed. It was several material worlds, but the earth was actually the lowest of the low, because there was a distortion on the first chakra. And the first chakra is the root chakra, but it's not only energetic center of the human being, but it's also responsible for many laws of the universe and how the universe works. So the root chakra is responsible for the thing which is called order, divine order, which means like there has to be a harmony, there has to be A, B, C, and D in order to E occur. Like E event has to happen before A, B, C, D, and D. And this order is opposite from the chaos. And what actually those souls who first live, who was ancestors of this earth, they actually created distortion in the first chakra, and they created chaos on the earth. The chaos, which means like suicides, killing each other, rape, horrible things happened, chaos happened, psychological state was diminished, like everything was just pure evil because of the distortion in the first chakra. So they no longer could they could not, those souls could not regress any further. So this material world was the actual lowest points of the material worlds to remain like in this form, because when you like regress even further, and when you do horrible things to each other, you accumulate a lot of karma, you actually start to lose energy, and your chakras start to rotate in the different direction of your actual like how they used to function, and those chakras could not longer function, so they start to rotate in the different direction. And what it means is that you start to destroy yourself. The destruction process happens, which means everything, your body deteriorates, your emotion deteriorates, everything is almost like not only destroying, but it's diminishing and it's shrinking, and you could no longer perform tasks, you could not longer function, think, and everything else. So before that happened, the spirit guides and the angels and the souls who were the beings, higher beings who were responsible from looking after the earth and taking care of the earth and this dimension, they thought that there has to be a way for human souls to develop and to come back home. So the idea of enlightenment was formed. The idea of enlightenment is when you lose your ego, you can actually come back home and come back to that absolute reality, loving reality, while being in this body. So the enlightenment is losing your ego, shedding your ego beliefs, everything, your karma, to be in that state of blissful state. So, and those souls, actually, when the spirit guides suggested this idea of enlightenment, but they suggested as this thing as you will not be enlightened, you souls who live on this earth, you will not be enlightened if you don't want to, but some other souls who are enlightened will be born on this earth and will live together with you. And if you want, you can follow their example and learn from them. So, and there was actually a very huge argument between those souls who lived on earth, because they were very stubborn, they accumulated a lot of karma, they were a lot like selfish, and they actually loved this reality because they could hide their emotions, hide their true feelings, true intentions, and they enjoyed being in this body. But so they were, actually those souls were very stubborn, and they didn't want for other souls to be incarnated with them, because it will challenge their egos. So they didn't want them. But on the other hand, other souls who were who already living in a lot of lifetimes on the earth, and they had many reincarnations on earth, they wanted some like hero, they could save them from their mess, from their chaos, from their suffering, because they were suffering and they were not enjoying this earth. They were very stuck, and they understood, they were aware that they are stuck. So there was two groups of souls. Souls who wanted to transformation and who wanted enlightenment and who wanted to change, and souls who didn't want them. So the agreement was between the spirit guides and the souls that the enlightened souls, actually starseed, I can call them starseeds, they will be born in this earth. They won't do many decisions, they won't interfere in the earth life, but souls who want to follow their example, they could actually find them, and there will be a possibility for them to come back home and to be enlightened as well, and to live, to actually stop the cycle of reincarnation. So during that time, starseeds were included on Earth. So I think that's it for the first part. The second part will be about how the concepts of enlightenment occurred. So I hope you like this video, and see you next time. Bye.